Good evening and welcome to Business Today. My name is Jerome Paul Sonko with Winnie Nakauchi on sign language. And of course, this is your daily report. Let's get right onto it with our very first report coming in from the Jinja protest as businesses paralyzed in Jinja City. The authorities in Jinja City have urged border riders and taxi drivers to increase transport fares instead of rioting. This comes 2 days after youth in areas of Wachitaka, Namulesa and Mafubira protested over high fuel prices which paralyzed the smooth running of business in this area. Naomi Mutumba reports.
Traffic and businesses along Jinja Kamali Highway in Jinja District was paralyzed for hours after protesters blocked the road over government inaction to cushion vulnerable Ugandans against the skyrocketing food and fuel prices. The protesters, mostly border riders, tax drivers, small business operators and residents of Namulesa Trading Center along the road mobilized themselves and blocked the road. Tax drivers from Kampala to Jinja parked their cars saying they were not earning profits.
Fuel prices are too high and yet there are few passengers on the road. 90,000 is what we put in, yet we don't make profits out of it. We have no hope after the president's speech. That's why we parked our cars. This means we are working for nothing.
You're riding a motorcycle and you're saying you're making 7,000, the liter is at 7,000 and you're making 4,000 a day, which means you're working in less profits or something. Unfortunately, it's the end user that is going to suffer. You as a border man, if you think that it is not good for you, you either park the motorcycle or you charge the end user twice the money that you're meant to be charging in order for you to make up what you're losing.
Kira Region Police spokesperson Mr. James Mubi condemned the protesters, urging the blocking a public road was against the law. On the other hand, the Jinja City Mayor urged people not to blame the government, but rather find solutions.
Allow people to destroy these are public roads. And remember, the law is very clear. If you cause damage, like how these people do, they burn tires, they bring big stones, bricks, logs, all that causes damage. And now we engage in UNRWA, because we have the regional branch here, to do assessment. They do assessment on Jinja Kamuli Road and then Jinja, that's straight that goes to Uganda and Nigeria.
The economy, it is affecting it. It will affect it as much as it could. But then let us not blame government, let us not blame the petrol stations, and let us not blame the people who are providing the services to us. Because me myself, I'm a transporter, apart from being in council, I'm a transporter personally. Transportation, by the time we had our contracts, fuel was at around 3,000. So we've been working at that price for the last year, for the last 2-3 years. And of recently, fuel went up to 6,700. If you calculate a vehicle that goes to Kasesa and comes back, before we could stay with about 500,000. But now we even stay with 100,000 after expenses. But why are we staying there, still working? We try to keep the reputation of the company. We're still working as we can because we know at that later stage, prices are going to reduce.
During the State of the Nation address last month, President Museveni spoke fleetingly about the current cost of living crisis. Mr. Museveni described the current inflationary pressures as transitory. A litre of diesel is now at 6,140 and petrol is now at 6,520. Naomi Mutumba, Business Today, Smart 24.
All right, now we're moving to the impacts of climate. As Uganda is one of the countries in Africa that is negatively impacted with results of climate change, from the heavy rainfalls to the scorching sun and droughts. Science has it that by 2050, millions of people might become migrants as a result of climate change in case there are no serious measures taken. Monica Nabionga reports.
In 2021 alone, disasters led to the displacement of over 2,000 people in Africa as a result of climatic change, which caused them to lose jobs and other economic activities they engaged in. The Minister for Water and Environment advised Ugandans on what has to be done to control the impacts of climate change.
We are resilient. So, for instance, because there may be drought, we need to have irrigation so that we can be able to water our crops throughout the year. Then secondly, we need to work on our wetlands. We have to make sure that we protect our wetlands. And then we have also to ensure that we protect our forests and plant even more trees.
He went ahead and exposed the hiccups in the Ministry of Water and Environment.
We only have about 200 policemen, 200 environmental police, policing over 500 central forest reserves and all the wetlands in the country. The task is huge, but the manpower is not enough.
Residents of 8 villages in Bubita sub-county in Bududa district were advised to abandon their homes after the area experienced landslides. The area MP of Bududa and Minister of State for Karamoja Affairs, Agnes Nandutu, advised that the area is at high risk of being buried in landslides and asked government to resettle the residents. As we talk today, most people in Karamoja are starving and hundreds have passed away as a result of famine resulting from droughts in the area. It is futile for us to know how a country like Rwanda has managed such situations.
We start with the right policies that can address both environment and climate change issues, and having in place the right institutional arrangement is critical. We have the policy-making institutions like the Ministry of Environment, and then we have the implementing institutions like Rwanda Environment Management Authority, and then we have, as well as the Rwanda Meteorology Agency, which furnishes us with all the climate data that we need for planning or relocating people who are residing in high-risk areas, and high-risk can either mean the very steep slopes where they can be easily affected by landslides, but it can also include flood-prone areas such as wetlands. These communities, after being identified as overly exposed to the impacts of climate change, are relocated and taken or given safer areas to stay, and we call these green villages. So the very vulnerable people are the ones that we've started with to be relocated into green villages, and here they have a safer environment to live in. Their livelihoods are catered for by making sure that we have, for instance, clean energy, but we also have economic generating activities. For some of the communities that are livestock keepers, they are given, for example, milk collection centers.
Monica Nabyonga, Smart 24 TV, Business Today.
All right, now thank you very much, Monica Nabyonga, for that particular report. As we move on now, we look at the milk and unsafe milk especially. Now, the sanitary quality of raw milk is an important issue in Uganda for social, economic and healthy reasons. The government, through the Dairy Development Authority, has come up with control measures to ensure quality and safety of milk and milk products in Uganda. This is to ensure that they handle milk and milk products that is fit for human consumption. All milk and milk products, including daily export and imports, are to be inspected by the Dairy Development Authority. Let's have more of this report.
Uganda's revenue from export of dairy products has risen from 480 billion shillings in 2018 to 700 billion shillings in 2020, according to records from the Dairy Development Authority. Dairy farming could play a greater role in the economy considering its strong potential to provide rural employment and regular income to the many resource-poor households. However, milk production is still largely subsistence. All farmers are urged to register their milk product and get the license to enable them sell quality milk products.
We have ensured that every farmer that is interested in bringing his milk to the general pool that is processed for export is registered and licensed. There is a fee for that, and that fee is part of the contribution that we make to the country. The fee is so affordable. I think now it is 75,000 per year. 75,000 per year to license you to do business in milk. 75. Everybody affords it. We have never seen the porters in that. So we register them, and this includes milk collectors or milk collection, importers, bulking centers, milk sales outlets, transporters, processors, exporters, etc., etc. Those involved in the milk value chain. These receive milk that meets standards through testing and non-compliance. Dairy products which are not good are rejected. So we register them, we license them, and then we train them as cooperatives. We train them as organized groups on how to produce clean milk.
Milk production in the country has increased from 2.5 billion litres in 2018 to 2.8 billion litres in 2020, a rise that has been attributed to the expansion of milk collection centres across the country.
The statistics I have is from 2018, where we produced 2.5 billion litres of milk annually. In 2019, we increased 2.52 billion litres of milk annually. In 2020, we produced 2.6 billion litres annually. Last year, we produced 2.81 billion litres of milk. Of these billion litres of milk, Uganda were able to consume 800,000 litres of milk annually. That means we need to have some of our milk sold somewhere. And if we have to sell our milk somewhere, we need to improve on the shelf life. So this emphasizes that our sector has been growing and increasing the contribution to GDP steadily. So reckless stocking is unacceptable. Milk utilization, as I had said, out of 2.8 billion litres of milk,
farmers are encouraged to produce more powdered milk, especially in the rainy season, because of the high markets.
We encourage our processors to make a lot of powdered milk because it is easily kept, longer shelf life, and it is the most marketable. Such that we do that to control the pricing, so that the farmers don't lose out. They are able to take as much milk.
Winnie Nakauchi, Business Today, Smart 24 TV, driving business.
All right, Winnie Nakauchi with that particular report. Now we continue with corruption in Uganda, as the Inspector General of Government together with the Inter-Religious Council of Uganda have addressed the media regarding the state of corruption in the country. Speaking at the Uganda Media Center, Minister Betty Kamya articulated government's achievements in fighting corruption. Joan Nabukalu reports.
Uganda is the 144 least corrupt nation out of 180 countries, according to the 2021 Corruption Perception Index reported by Transparency International. The Corruption Perception Index ranks countries and territories based on how corrupt their public sector is perceived to be. Corruption has to be endemic to Uganda and has now become an accepted way of life that when someone is appointed or elected to public office, it is their return to take advantage. During a press brief at the Uganda Media Center, the Inspector General of Government, Betty Kamya, outlined Uganda's journey and achievements in the fight of corruption in the different government agencies.
Now, we have recovered 12 billion 12.6 billion shillings. And we have also confiscated property, or some people have ceded property to the Inspectorate of Government. We recovered 9 billion from Maif, 1.2 billion from Ubos. Property, we've confiscated property, 1.4 billion, and others about 2 billion. So we are into 13 billion, and we have promised government that if we are properly facilitated, it is possible for the Inspectorate of Government to recover over 100 billion in a year, and we shall do it.
Monsignor Charles Kasibante, chairperson of the Interreligious Council, assured the nation of their bond with government in regards to improving the livelihoods of the citizens, which has been reducing due to rampant corruption.
Against corruption, we preach against evil. That is our work, to bring the good news to our people so that they may know the right way of living and they may follow the way of God, the way of the Lord, a way which gives peace, joy, and happiness to individuals. If you take a wrong route, an evil way, you are never happy. You may be very rich, you may have a lot of things, a lot of money, but in the process, you are not happy.
The press brief was to rally Ugandans to participate in the International Prayer Day, which is due 29th of the month of July, which lies on the theme, placing God at the center of the war against corruption. Joan Nabkalu, Smart 24, Business Today.
Thank you very much, Joan Nabkalu, for that report. Now we move on to imported flowers. As the importation of flowers from countries like China and Kenya have reduced due to high taxes imposed on them. The volume of the imported flowers was at 5.6% as of February 2022 and currently stands at 8%, affecting the business community. Stakeholders have expressed their grief on how they are likely to end the business due to the high taxes imposed on them. Designer Mobiru with the details.
Smart 24 TV reached out to some of the florists and they noted a number of issues pushing them to close their businesses. Jenny Timbavas, a businesswoman dealing in importing artificial flowers from China, shares with us some of the flower prices and how the tax authorities rate them.
Emisolo gisinga ebimuli ebbeeyi. Emisolo gisinga ebimuli ebbeeyi.
The rated taxes are more expensive than flowers. For example, you can purchase a piece at $1, that is at 3,700 from China, and by the time it reaches Uganda, it is already 10K before being sold out. Then another thing, the fuel prices have also affected us, not forgetting that the tax authorities rate us anyhowly, due to the fact that they don't have any standard price. The flower behind, the cheapest from China, and it is at 2,500. Then, by the time it reaches Uganda, that is after shipping and the taxes, it is already at 7,000. According to the tax rates on flowers, the consumers tend to opt for artificial flowers to natural flowers since they are long-lasting and reusable.
3 years back, that is 2017, we were using natural flowers, but come 2018, artificial flowers started dominating. Till today, they are the most used flowers. There is a big difference, because artificial can really make good flowers, most especially on functions, unlike natural, where you need a variety for them to be attractive. They are both expensive. The only difference is that you can use artificial over and over, even a whole year when well handled. A good natural flower comes from Kenya, where a bunch goes for about 4,500 from there and sold right here at 7,000. Concerning artificial flowers, the best come from China, sold at 18,000 to 20,000. The reason we adapted artificial from natural is because it increases operations faster. It is reusable, which is not the case with natural and artificial. And also artificial flowers look brighter than the natural. Natural flowers are expensive simply because they are used once, unlike artificial flowers which are used over and over.
Namganga Catherine, a florist selling natural flowers, shares with us the impact of artificial flower towards their business.
Tubusanze nnyo kubanga luli twalinga tutunda ebimuli nga bitambula nga mufunira ddala ssente naye kati abantu badda mu artificial mirimu gyakendeera.
The biggest challenge is that people nowadays go for artificial flowers, and it has much affected us to the extent of us looking for money to go to China for artificial ones. This is also backed by the rates that vary, and for the sellers in Nairobi, they don't care about the rates. All they want is their money. Desire Nambiru, Smart 24 TV, driving business.
Surely we are driving business. All right, now let's move on to business in furniture, as furniture dealers have called upon government to reduce on the taxes imposed in regards to materials they use in their business. Higher taxes on furniture have forced most furniture sellers to resort to hiking their prices and in turn lost many clients. Bronia Katusime reports.
Furniture business is among those rendered profitable and engaged in by a vast number of Ugandans as avenue for revenue generation. But due to the current economic conditions, participants acknowledge the rise of losses associated with the business. The businessmen urge the government to reduce on the existing tariffs.
Just esobole kubanga egondezamu generation eno ku.
I request government to reduce on the high tariffs, most especially for this generation, because the taxes are too much, yet the economy is stagnant. At least they should find a way of reducing and enable us help the young generation. Right now, commodities are so expensive, and yet customers want us to sell to them at low prices. In the past, during the end of the year, customers would be at lot, unlike lately, due to economic factors.
It was easy to purchase furniture. However, the pandemic disrupted the entire furniture value chain, leading to orders being cancelled, resulting to a disruption of income flows. According to Global Market Insight, the furniture market size was over 545.78 billion shillings in 2020, with an estimation of a 5.4% compound annual growth rate between 2022 and 2027. Bronia Katsime, Business Today, Smart 24 TV, driving business.
All right, Bronia Katsime with that particular report. Now we head to Airtel Mobile Commerce. Airtel Mobile Commerce Uganda Limited has today announced that they will pay interest to the tune of 3.4 billion Ugandan shillings on customers' daily balances for the past 91 days. The Airtel Mobile Commerce Uganda Limited Director, Japhet Alitho, says that they will continue to share this value to communities for the economic transformation of the country.
According to the Airtel Mobile Commerce Uganda Limited Managing Director, Japhet Alitho, the eligibility is that any person with a minimum of 1 shilling in the past 91 days is eligible. He noted that they are estimating to distribute the funds in 3 to 4 days.
When do we distribute these funds? I'm also delighted to say that we are expecting this morning to get the final letter from the regulator. We are in principle agreed on the sharing formula. They are in agreement, so we are just waiting for a formal letter, and these funds could be distributed as early as tomorrow. Though, because we are distributing these funds to over 18 million wallets that are already had balances during the period, it could take 3 to 4 days to distribute that funds, because again, we have the responsibility of ensuring that we continue to offer the services without interrupting them. So we are estimating 3 to 4 days to be able to distribute the funds. I want also to just take this opportunity just to state that we will continue to encourage our customers and our traders not to keep money under the mattress, because now, as you know, Airtel, we believe we have an instant, secure, and borderless service. And now that the funds that are in the wallet will generate some value.
Today we have announced that we will be passing on that value in the next coming days to all the customers who had a balance of greater than 1 shilling in the past 91 days. That is April, end of June. We really caution our public that for us, that's why we are here to announce that this is going to be done. But when you get that message, don't be fooled by people calling you, sending you fake messages. Check your balance, and when you check, do never share your PIN. You can only secure your money by never sharing your PIN.
He added that they are paying interest to over 20 million accounts and over 150,000 agents. Customers with dormant accounts of up to 14 months will also receive interest on their balances, but will need to activate their accounts before they can redeem their money.
All right, now you can as well go into our social media platforms on Twitter at Smart24TV, as you can share your feedback in regards to the business reports that we have for you this time around. But with that, we do take a break and we return with more with Business Today.